Starting off our list at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher and Rhianna. Let this one sink in for a minute. I'm a little weirded out. Maybe I'm just living under a rock, but I'm not sure how I missed this. Apparently they had an 8-week fling, and it all started after pictures leaked of her leaving his pad in the middle of the night back in 2012. Sources say the two of them hit it off at a friend's party in December and began having a little casual fling after that. A photographer busted Riri as she drove up to his property with her security team around midnight one night, and they caught pictures of her leaving around 4 a.m. A source told The Sun the flirting began as soon as Rhianna and Ashton met and swapped numbers. That moves on to text and arranging to meet. They snuck off to a Santa Monica hotel a few weeks ago. They are two single people having a fling, so they thought it would be best to meet in secret. I guess the hookups lasted for 8 weeks and nothing serious really came from it. It was really just a fling. At number 9 is Matthew McConaughey and Janet Jackson. This is weird. Why are all these hookups so weird and random? The two of them caused chaos in Hollywood after posing for a picture at the 2002 Grammys. Rumors started that they had a fling going on, but Matthew always denied that there was anything between them. His side of the story is, I quote, "We swapped some good music and she's a dear lady. She's a sweetheart, but we're not dating, we're just friends." But her side of the story is, I quote, "I guess we did date. He's a great guy and such a sweetheart. It was just for a minute and that's why I am so hesitant to mention it." Okay, so which one is it? I think that they had this little thing going on, but maybe it was more serious for her, like they weren't on the same page about it. What do you guys think? Either way, it's weird. I don't care what anyone says, I just cannot picture them together. Coming in at number 8 is Kim Kardashian and Nick Cannon. I feel like I should have known about this one. Like it should have made more headlines or something. Unless it did and I just didn't see them. The two of them got together after Kim's whole sex tape thing, and apparently the sex tape is what ruined their little fling. They got together back in September 2006 and called off what they had going on a few months later in January 2007. You could kinda say they were dating, like they were an item. Nick calls Kim one of the nicest people you will ever meet, but told the Howard Stern show that they ended because she lied about her sex tape. He told the story saying, "This was my issue. We talked about this tape and she told me there was no tape. If she might have been honest with me, I might have tried to hold her down, but the fact she lied and told me there was no tape, no." He even went as far as saying that he thinks Kim had something to do with the tape's release, like it was actually planned. Regardless though, Nick doesn't have anything rude to say about her or their few months together, and Kim doesn't have anything to say about it at all.
At number 6, Cord Overstreet and Emma Watson. Now there's not much information on this relationship because it was kept so private, but there's word that Cord Overstreet and Emma Watson were an item for a little while back in 2018. In early 2018, it was rumored that Cord and Emma were seeing each other, but when this news broke, their relationship was still fairly new and there wasn't much to say about it other than rumors and speculation. They were first spotted together at a concert in February of 2018, and then later at an Oscars viewing party the following month. Not long after the news of their apparent relationship broke, they were seen again holding hands, and this sort of sealed the deal for most people, though again, nothing was really confirmed. But then things seem to have just fizzled out and died as the reports came out saying that the two had broken up after 6 months of dating. Less than a month after that, they were seen together again, and there was speculation that they had gotten back together, but again, nothing was ever confirmed. Emma is known to try and keep her private life private, so that could be the reason why this relationship mostly flew under the radar, but it's still something surprising to note. At number 4 is Sharon Osbourne and Jay Leno. When you picture Sharon Osbourne, you can't really see her without her other half, Ozzy, but there was once a time before Ozzy came along and you won't believe who she dated. In 2013, Sharon admitted to having a quote, flingy-wingy with Jay Leno. Sharon revealed on an episode of The Talk that when she was 25, before she started seeing Ozzy, she had moved to America and was working at a place that was quote, full of men. One day she met a man who turned out to be Jay Leno, and Sharon and her friend decided to prank call him one evening. Well, this prank call ended up turning into a full-blown conversation and then a little bit more. Elaborating on the situation, Sharon said, quote, "He came to my house and he met me and he had a little fling. And the fling was more a fling for me and not a fling enough for him. Because a couple months into it, he brought around his real love of his life for me to meet, and she was lovely, and they took me to Fatburger and they showed me around town." It was brief and Sharon went on to marry Ozzy anyway, but it's so fun to learn that these two celebrities had a fling.
Alright guys, at number 3 is Cameron Diaz and Tyrese. It happened back in 2007 when they were spotted making out at an LA club, and on top of that, she was at an Oscar party with him, which had the media going crazy. A source reported the makeout session saying, "They made out right in front of me on the dance floor." Tyrese was 28 years old and Cameron was 34. There really isn't much else to the story other than the fact that Cameron was simply enjoying her single status after she split with Justin Timberlake. Things seemed to get hot pretty quickly between the two of them, but the fire went out just as quick. It was very short-lived. In spot number 2 is Chelsea Handler and 50 Cent. When the hookup rumors started to spread back in 2010, I thought it was all just fake news. But then Chelsea told Oprah Winfrey that he was a sweetheart and was, I quote, "so cute, but that their fling wasn't anything serious." She later decided to air out all of her dirty laundry when she went on Howard Stern's morning show and spilled all the details. And when I say all, I mean all. She straight up talked about how the sex was. Chelsea says they started talking and flirting after he appeared on her show. There was a weekend when she was traveling to Nashville and he asked if he could meet her out there. She says, I quote, "We went out, we dated, we had sex, my friends all loved him, so we dated for a couple of months." But their breakup story was the juicy part. Turns out she was having his ex-girlfriend Sierra on her show, and he called her the day before to tell her that Sierra wants to get back together with him and is upset about them dating. Chelsea tells the story saying, "So you're telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me, is what you're saying?" He's like, "Yeah, so I just want you to know when she comes." Then I called him the worst thing you could say to a black person short of calling him the N-word, something along the lines of being a gangster. And it was really, really offensive, and I hung up and I've never spoken to him again. Coming from Chelsea though, that really doesn't surprise me.
At number 10, Nicole Kidman and Lenny Kravitz. I can't imagine how hard it would be to hide a relationship as a celebrity. Being a public figure like some of the stars on this list has its drawbacks because the public is always watching you at all times, so to hide your private life successfully seems like it would be a bit of a challenge. Some celebrities are able to do that pretty well, and Nicole Kidman and Lenny Kravitz are some of the best at hiding things because they were able to hide their pretty serious relationship back in the day. Nicole and Lenny seem like two people who wouldn't really run into each other, but apparently they were a lot closer than we thought. Shortly after Nicole divorced from her ex-husband Tom Cruise, Nicole was actually renting a place from Lenny Kravitz, and that's how they met. The two became pretty close and they eventually started seeing each other. Nicole later revealed that there was a time where she, Lenny, and Zoe Kravitz were, quote, all sort of living together. It wasn't until years later that the public found out just how serious Nicole and Lenny's relationship was, as Nicole once said in an interview that she was engaged to Lenny at one point. Obviously, things didn't quite work out, but the fact that they were able to hide a serious relationship, engagement, and breakup without anyone finding out is actually pretty impressive, and also explains why a lot of people had no clue about this celebrity hookup. At number 9, Zachary Quinto and Jonathan Groff. Raise your hand if you had no idea that Zachary Quinto and Jonathan Groff were once an item. This is another couple I had no idea about before researching this video, and I'm kind of sad that I missed out on it. Zachary and Jonathan were in a relationship for around a year or so, and they seem to have kept their love life pretty private. They didn't even go public with their breakup either, so there weren't really any juicy details as to what really happened. It's believed that work and distance is what made them grow apart and end things, but they seemingly ended things on pretty good terms with no hostility or negativity. A source close to the couple at the time confirmed the news of their split, saying, quote, Zach being far away and filming was not easy on them. They really loved each other, so it wasn't an easy split. It just ran its course. The couple went public with their relationship back in 2012 when Zachary did an interview with Out magazine about a year or so after he publicly came out as gay. Before I carry on with the list, I would like to take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider taking a moment to head on over to my gaming channel Viper Girl to check out what I've got going on over there, and maybe consider subscribing. At number 8, Drew Barrymore and Christian Bale. So it turns out that Hollywood stars Drew Barrymore and Christian Bale once had a tiny little fling of sorts, and basically no one knew about it. Back in 2012, Christian revealed in an interview with GQ Australia how he was once tied to Drew and that it did not end well. In the interview, Christian said that he once went on a date with the actress, and after their evening, she completely ghosted him. Going into detail about the ordeal, Christian said, quote, we went to see some bloody awful horror film, and that was the the end of it. She never called again. To make things a little juicier, Drew was later asked about her failed date with Christian in 2015 during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, and host Andy Cohen asked why she ghosted the actor, to which she replied saying, quote, "I don't know. He was super nice. I wasn't like super boy crazy. I had a lot of fish to fry. Like I had big problems in my world for many years. Like in good ways. Things you gotta overcome. Boys are like very secondary." I seriously wonder what would have happened had their date been successful. Do you think they would still be together?
Sliding into our number 7 spot is Mel B and Zac Efron. The world was shook when it was revealed that the two of them hooked up back in 2017. I am still shook, you guys. It was around the time that Mel split from her husband of 10 years. What better timing than to hook up with Zac Efron, right? According to The Sun, Mel, who was 43, then met Zac, who was 30, on an exclusive dating app where they started to exchange some flirty messages. An unnamed friend of Mel's told the British newspaper he ended up driving over to her pad, they hit it off and spent a few enjoyable hours together. It wasn't exactly a meeting of the minds, neither saw it as long term, but there was chemistry there. Mel thought Zac had an amazing body. Well, duh. Neither of them have confirmed nor denied the hookups, which is almost a confirmation in itself, I feel. Mel made an appearance on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, and he asked her about the hookup rumors. She didn't say anything, and he asked, "No denial?" And Mel responded with, "But no comment." So basically, yeah, it happened. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Paris Hilton and Val Kilmer. This list is just getting weird. Definitely the most random pair ever. They shocked fans after pictures surfaced of them making out back in 2006. The pictures were reported to be from 2002, during the time that Val was filming his movie Wonderland, which Paris had a cameo in. The pictures were published in an Australian magazine and show Val groping and kissing the blonde bombshell. They were pretty steamy pics, I'm not gonna lie. But their age gap was the main thing that surprised most people. Paris was 25 at the time and Val was 46. Turns out there was a big scandal tied to those photos. New Weekly reported that the images had been leaked for an upcoming auction of Hilton's belongings, which were illegally seized from a Los Angeles storage unit after she fell behind with payments. The pictures are believed to have been taken in Val's West Hollywood mansion. Another reason why it was so shocking was because just 1 year earlier he was criticizing her to the media. He said, "Paris Hilton is a great example. She's famous for nothing. It's what we are celebrating in my country, the nothingness of her fame." Well, he clearly wasn't bothered by her nothingness when he was hooking up with her. Here we are at number 4 with Carmen Alectra and Simon Cowell. We saw the two of them making headlines back in 2012, but I think I can speak for the majority of us and say that we were hella confused as to what their situation was. But after a lot of speculation, Simon finally confirmed that they were dating each other, but they weren't exclusive. He went on air with Ryan Seacrest and said, I quote, "She's not my girlfriend. We're people who date." He was smitten by her though and kept talking about how adorable she is. The feeling was totally mutual though. Carmen opened up about the relationship, or whatever it was, and said, "He's so cute, he is adorable. He is actually a sweetheart. The thing is, we worked together on Britain's Got Talent. I was a guest judge and I had so much fun. I really liked him. I think he's really cool." However, things got nasty between them when she found Simon hooking up with Lauren Silverman. Like, literally found him. She walked in on them hooking up at his LA home. Awkward.
At number 3, Hilary Duff and Shia LaBeouf. During a 2011 interview, actor Shia LaBeouf revealed that he once went on a date with Lizzie McGuire star Hilary Duff, and he called it the worst date he's ever had. The actor shared some details of his horrible date with Hilary, saying that back in 2002, the pair went on a sushi date, and that the date was so incredibly bad that they never went on another one, and that he and Hilary never spoke again after that day. Shia didn't share any more details to paint a bigger picture of the day, but I can imagine that for them to never speak again, it must have been really terrible. At number 2, Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey. Did you know that Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey dated? Back in 2006, after splitting from his ex Jessica Simpson, Nick got his rebound game on with Kim K, who at the time was still a nobody in terms of fame. In an interview, Nick shared some details about his relationship with Kim Kardashian, where he claimed that Kim used him for fame because at this time, she was only known as Paris Hilton's assistant. During the interview, Nick said, quote, "Let's just say this. We went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. There are certain ways to play this game, and some people play it well. In a way, Kim admitted that being linked to Nick worked well in terms of getting her notoriety, as she wrote in her 2010 book, Kardashian Confidential, that after dating Nick, paparazzi started calling her name when she was out. And finally, at number 1, Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake. It is rumored that Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake have gotten pretty close in the past and have hooked up in secret on a few occasions. Their secret relationship of sorts reportedly began after they worked together on Justin's music video for What Goes Around Comes Around, where Scarlett played Justin's love interest. Sources have also said that the pair got very close with each other back in 2011 while Justin was dating Jessica Biel. Some sources reported that after having a wild night on the town, party hopping in New York, Justin was seen headed straight for Scarlett's apartment. Now again, nothing is confirmed, but nothing's been denied either, so what do you guys think? Now, I want you guys to tell me about your shortest or most regrettable relationship you've had. It could be a one-night stand situation or a cringy high school relationship, but I want to hear all about your stories down in the comments. At number 10, Rhianna and Travis Scott. Here's a celeb hookup that might surprise you because it certainly surprised me when I found out. Rhianna and Travis Scott reportedly dated back in 2015, though their relationship story is a little foggy and confusing since they never wanted anyone to find out about it in the first place. Everything was super hush-hush, so don't tell anybody I told you this. Basically, their friends with benefits / actual relationship took place about 6 years or so ago, and neither of them outright confirmed their relationship. When Travis was asked about Rhianna in an interview, he described her as being his muse and seemed to have had very passionate feelings for her, though he never chose to make these things public. He actually got incredibly upset when a magazine published details about him and Rhianna because they were told not to release those details, but they went against his wishes and they did it anyway. You'd think that with that sort of reaction, it was Travis who wanted to keep his fling on the DL, but it was actually Rhianna who wanted everything to be a secret because apparently she was embarrassed to be with him. The details as to who was the one who broke things off in the end remained a mystery, but we do know that things ended in 2016, shortly before Travis was linked to Kylie Jenner. At number 9, Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. Looks like this celebrity fling was as juicy as it was on screen. After keeping this little hookup a secret for quite some time, Shia LaBeouf finally spilled the beans, so to speak, after revealing that he had a little romance with his Transformers co-star Megan Fox back in the day. In 2011, Shia revealed in an interview that he had a brief entanglement with the actress, saying that being on set and portraying two people in love caused their personal lives and work lives to become a little blurred. Shia was said to have been very protective of Megan while they were together, even having an outburst in a convenience store and hopping behind the counter to have a physical confrontation with an employee who was allegedly rude to Megan. To make things even juicier, this romance was apparently going on during the time that Megan and Brian Austin Green were allegedly engaged, so this was quite the entanglement. Years later, Megan said that she was in love with Shia at the time, confirming their brief fling. Before I carry on with the list, let me take a moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out my gaming channel Viper Girl if you're interested in watching some gameplay content with me. At number 8, Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza. If you're a fan of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, then you're familiar with how the character Julie Powers isn't too fond of Scott Pilgrim. Well, it might come as a surprise to you to find out that the actors who portrayed Julie and Scott in the 2010 film are very different from their counterparts on screen, in the sense that they certainly don't hate each other, and they actually dated for some time around the release of the movie. Michael Cera and Aubrey Plaza met on the set of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and they ended up dating for about a year and a half. Things were pretty serious between them as they almost got married too. When Aubrey was a guest star on RuPaul's Drag Race back in 2016, she told Ru about her relationship with Michael, saying, quote, "We drove across the country after we shot that movie and almost got married in Vegas." Aubrey also opened up saying that she and Michael remain on good terms even though their romantic relationship didn't exactly work out. Their relationship remained pretty secret until after things were over between them, so we didn't really get to live through the Scott and Julie shipping like we would have liked to, but hey, they come and they go. At number 7, Macaulay Culkin and Mila Kunis. Did you know about Macaulay Culkin and Mila Kunis' nearly decade-long relationship? Because apparently not very many people were aware that these two dated. The pair dated for about 8 years, spanning from 2002 to 2011, before finally calling it quits. Mila said that she and Macaulay sort of grew up together because they got together when they were pretty young. Mila was 18 and Macaulay was 21, spending their early adulthood together. Apparently, their relationship first started out as a long-distance relationship, as Mila was working on that 70s show in California while Macaulay was living in New York. When they broke up, there was speculation that cheating was involved since it was rumored that the split was not amicable and took a heavy toll on Macaulay. It was alleged that Mila cheated on Macaulay with her 70s show co-star Ashton Kutcher, but regardless of the rumors, the two remain on bad terms and are reportedly no longer friends after their messy split. Both Macaulay and Mila have moved on with other partners, so maybe now it's all water under the bridge. At number 6, Megan Fox and Robert Pattinson. In part 1 of this series, I talked about how Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox had a secret fling, but apparently Megan reportedly had another secret hookup with fellow Hollywood star Robert Pattinson. According to someone who worked with Megan on the set of the film Jennifer's Body in 2009, Megan reportedly hooked up with Robert one night. The source also claimed that, quote, Megan was totally into Rob and thought he was really cute, but nothing went further than that one night they were together. He totally blew her off. Both Megan and Robert shut down these rumors, but maybe there really was something between them one night. We may never really know for sure. At number 5, Amy Poehler and John Stamos. Back in 2014, actress and comedian Amy Poehler dished about her experience getting back into the dating pool after she separated from her husband Will Arnett. She told Howard Stern in an interview about how things were a little confusing getting back into dating and how she once had gone out with none other than Uncle Jesse himself, John Stamos. Amy told Howard how she and John had worked on a film together and that at some point during the time they were working together, John had asked Amy to go to dinner. Apparently there was some confusion around that because Amy told Howard during her interview that she didn't think that her dinner with John was really a date and that she was all confused about it all, but later on, a few months later, after Amy's interview, John was asked about this date confusion and he said that the dinner was in fact a date. Basically, there was a lot of confusion and uncertainty and no doubt a little bit of awkwardness as well. At number 4, Ashley Olsen and Lance Armstrong. Here's a juicy little story about forbidden love. Well, not really, but it's a little spicy. You see, actress and fashion designer Ashley Olsen and former professional cyclist Lance Armstrong had a bit of a fling in 2007 and very few people were on board with it. They started seeing each other a few weeks after Lance broke up with fashion designer Tory Burch, and sources say that Ashley and Lance were infatuated with each other. The two were spotted on a date at the Rose Bar in the Gramercy Park Hotel, and they were seen macking on each other and then later leaving together in the early hours of the morning. Because there was a 15-year age difference, the people closest to Lance advised the cyclist to stop seeing Ashley over fears that this relationship and the large age difference would ruin his career. Ironic. Lance tried to fight for his infatuation with Ashley, but things just ended up fizzling out a couple months later. At number 3, Lea Michele and Matthew Morrison. TV and Broadway actress Lea Michele was known for having had a serious relationship with the late Corey Monteith, but it seems as though Corey wasn't the only Glee star that she was in a relationship with. In Lea's 2014 book, Brunette Ambition, she wrote about her experience on Glee, shooting the show's pilot, and revealing that before meeting the rest of the cast, she had already worked with Jenna Urshiewicz and Matthew Morrison on Broadway. And saying, quote, Matt had been a friend of mine for years, and in fact, we'd actually dated back in the day for a Broadway beat. During the filming of Glee, there were apparently some rumors saying that she and Matthew were getting a little romantic because they were so close, but she shut down those rumors saying that there was nothing romantic between them, and that they were just friends. There isn't really much information as to how long they dated and what made them end things. All we know is that it was very brief, so I guess you can just draw your own conclusions. At number 2, Johnny Depp and Jennifer Grey. All people can talk about in regards to Johnny Depp these days is his awful experience with Amber Heard and the drama surrounding that, but Amber obviously isn't the only one Johnny has been with. Johnny has also been linked to Vanessa Paradis, with whom he has 2 kids, and he was also married to Lori Ann Allison back in the 80s, and there are a number of other celebrities he's dated, but there's another star that the actor dated that not everyone knows about. Johnny Depp had a pretty serious relationship with actress Jennifer Grey back in the day. The two Hollywood stars only dated for about a year, but things were serious enough for Johnny to propose to Jennifer in 1989. They were set to get married the following year, but clearly that never happened. They really kept their relationship super secret, so there aren't many details about their fling other than the fact that it happened, but it's still something that not many people know about. I wonder what happened between them. And finally, at number 1, Tom Cruise and Cher. This next celebrity fling surprised me the most, so let me know if this one caught you by surprise as well. Back in the 80s, Tom Cruise and Cher were an item. I had no clue that they were ever together, but apparently it's true. Apparently Tom and Cher first met at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding, and they sort of hit it off. Though there was a 16-year age gap between them, that didn't stop them from having a little fling. Cher reportedly told James Corden that Tom was one of her top 5 lovers, so clearly things were pretty good between them, right? The singer also told Oprah Winfrey that Tom could have been a quote, great big romance if they hadn't been forced to break things off due to their busy schedules. They're apparently still pretty good friends, and part of me wishes that I could have seen this romance between them because it sounds like it was something incredible.